6:30 in the morning. Look how dark it is. It's wet. It's not that cold this morning, but the winter is coming. One good thing though is my tyres are still pumped up with no noticeable difference since I put the tyre weld in there. So here we are back at this very rural location where we are plastering some old stables up. This is the third day I've been here. Shay, my son, he works independently now. He should be in a little bit later. He's tackling that back room. But the last couple of videos have been about this place. The ceiling I did by myself, which was quite big, and it was 45 square meters. I did it without any retarder. We broke it up into a couple of sections, so knocking up for yourself and everything. That's a little bit further down the playlist. Have a look if you're interested. The walls and the ceiling and pretty much all of it was very, very wobbly indeed, due to the old timbers and the way that the plasterboard had warped around it. So we have gone to the effort, as you saw from that little clip earlier, where we've used bonding thistle bonding coat, to straighten things up a little bit as best we can. There's only so much you can do. I mean, how far do you want to go with it? So, you know, really, you've got to be using a straight edge, a rule, and more than anything else, I'm kind of looking at the way you walk through the property and when you can cast your eye down and just doing it by eye and making it look straight, but it isn't straight at all. It's all over the place, but we're doing the best we can. I mean, if you want to get your, don't do it. If you get your laser level out in there, you'll be here for like 6 months trying to straighten this up and everything. You'd have to float all the walls right out and stuff, and it's not going to happen. But for the type of building it is, we're getting away with what needs to be done. It's a rustic farm building. Today is supposed to be the last day here, and yesterday I spent a load of time sorting out the wibble wobble, which will be the last video down on the playlist that we did. And that was, so from one day we did the 45 metre ceiling by ourselves, so there's meterage in that. The wibble wobble day was like 50p's worth of meterage. That's all I've done all day other than the floating out and that. And then today, because I was messed around doing all that technical stuff, if you like, with the floating out and straightening up. Oh, so yeah, so I bonded those, that long wall up, and where it was warping in, I bonded them up. I gave it a quick coat of PVA, because that's what I've got available to me at the moment. And I think SBR might be a little bit overkill for what we want on that, because that bonding is still quite wet, but it will have a little bit more suction than the bare areas of plasterboard that you saw there. So that's why I've PVA'd them up in an effort to try and get those suction levels all to kind of like, you know, be at the same sort of rate, if you like. So I've given it a PVA whilst it was still wet yesterday, and I come in, it was still kind of tacky this morning, but I've given it another quick PVA now. I was prepared to come in and start smashing out because we didn't have to worry about any reveals, but now I got here this morning. Kim and Max are here, and they're putting beads around the reveals, and they want us to do them now. So every day has been a little bit different, and get here in the morning and find out what the new job detail is. So with that all said and done, shall we get in there and start knocking up? I'm a little bit restricted to where I can start because they're putting some board around the front doorway there, so there's a couple of walls I can get on with. So yeah, I was going to hit the big long wall, but I'm going to go on the other side. Yeah, see how we get on. Knock up a couple of bags, I guess, and start putting it on. Right, let's do that. to have a little chat to you. Putting plaster on. Don't want to overload your hawk too much. Take a bit off. Easier said than done, I know. There's loads of people showing you how to do this. You need to get the hang of that. So first of all, starting if you're right-handed, top left, get some on. And then when we come to the corners, get close, spread it, get a little bit, and come in when you've got a controllable amount of plaster on your trowel, so that you keep your internals really nice and neat. So on the top, just a tiny little bit on there now. Come in, and see, give it that little wiggle, kind of pushes it around, helps us get a straight edge up there. I mean, it's kind of a slower way of putting things on, but in the long run, it makes it a bit faster because neater is faster. So you might want to come along, get as far as you want. Come and do the ceiling, edge, come down to a certain degree. Obviously you want to keep this edge as wide as possible, and on a wall this size it's not a problem. Okay, then once you get to here, I mean some people go all the way down to the bottom. I don't because I'm getting old. And the bottom of the wall's getting way further and further these days with my bad knee. So this is the fun bit. Nice free ride. I tend to do, well, saying that, but if we came down, if we want to go all the way down to the bottom, although we have got a socket there, what I tend to do is come here, push it up, and then this goes all the way down. I don't want to feel that socket because it's live and it does have some windows in there. I can show you on the next bit a bit better. So normally what you do, or what I would do if I was on a hop, I'd come down to about this level. I'm being very lazy, it's taking me a little while to get into the fun of things this morning. So let's come down this, which is a manageable amount. And then, from here, come up and then push that all the way down to the bottom. Got to reload. From here, come up, move it around, and then push that right down to the bottom edge. Come back up and flatten as you go. And it's pretty much just repeating that movement all the way along. And that's the beauty of using these larger trowels, because you see there's hardly any trail marks in there at all. Flattening in as you go along. Okay, let's have a look what's going on in here. It's a little bit difficult to record because of all the noise going on. Power tools. So this is the condition we are in, and it's a little bit challenged around areas like this, you see, especially with that larger trowel, because it is good for getting things flat, but also, as you can see, because of the size of it, when you come to a little awkward area, it can provide a few more challenges. So this is the condition we got in initially as we put it on. These walls are waving in and out, and it is a little bit difficult. Let's see where there's a joint. Sometimes I come in and where that trowel is spanning the joint and there's a dip in it so much, the two ends of the trowel are touching on applying plaster, but it's missing up the actual joint where the taper is. So then you have to come back in and fill that, and this is why I use these larger carbon steels which are straights, because it really does force you to straighten things up like that. If you're using a very flexible trowel or a curved trowel, then you won't get as much feedback from what needs to go on the wall in the position it is. But I can't say I've been particularly that tidy. There's quite a few trowel marks and stuff in it, so I'm going to turn straight back round and flatten this in with the 20x5 and get it all in a really nice tidy condition for the first coat. Another thing to note, look, I didn't put these beads up. They've put plastic around the window and their tape is failing. Now this kind of floppy plastic around windows and stuff can be a bit of an issue, as you just saw in the clip, because look, my trowel, the wind's getting in it. I've just cut a hole in it to let the air come out, because the air, there was still air coming through the trickle vent or whatever, and it was blowing the plastic out. So when I'm trying to get my trowel this way, especially with such a large trowel, it's snagging all this, and it's just more trouble than it was worth. So of course, first of all, I've gone across here and come up to this bead on this window here. We're doing the reveals. So then I've had to come in here and get into these little niggly little bits in here and keep this as tidy as possible. Get in there. But by doing so, look, I've pulled the bead out. So that wasn't happening. When I did this side, it must have pushed the bead in like so. And then when I've done this side, it's pulled it out, you know? And now we can see all this shrinkage and stuff in there. So that's the stuff we need to sort out now. And that is what we are going to do. What else is there to say? So it's not a particularly large amount. And I've got this, I've overcooked it, I've got that left in the bucket. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use some of that in there to fill out areas that I've missed already. Guess what, I'm on day work here, so it's no big deal. Spending some time to get this straight. I mean, all the stuff we've done in here, there's no way you could do this on a price, you just don't know what's going on. So yeah, I'm gonna use some of that, almost like a second coat wherever it's needed, to fill out areas and really scrutinise on getting this first coat flat. It is a lot longer getting that first coat flat, but you will really appreciate that towards the end of the wall's life when it comes to troweling up and stuff, because you've got that first coat in such a good condition. All the other stages down the line get easier and easier. You don't sort out your first coat, then you're going to start struggling further down the line, filling things with fat. You're finding ripples there, and then you're like, oh, I didn't see that, and then you're using more muscles to try and plane it off, etc., etc. Like I keep saying, get the wall flat when it's easy, and it's easy when the plaster's wet, not when it's hard and planing off stuff. And then you're getting the residue out, and you're seeing there's a dip, and then you're filling a dip with fat and stuff, and it's not got the same consistency, it's not got the right body granules in it, and it will shrink back and stuff. And that's when you get tiger stripes and things like that. So with me chatting so much, I think I'll probably better get on with it before it goes off. Okay, now things have quietened down a little bit in here. Let's have another look. So, this is the condition we are in now. I remember I've only knocked up one bucket. Oh, there's a little lump there that I've missed. But yeah, it's a little bit hard in the light, but we're looking pretty flat there. I'm quite happy with everything. Let's go in the back and have a little look at these beads. So now we've sorted them out. Now that's, oh, let's have a look. So I did manage to use up all that plaster that was left in there. And like I say, what I've been doing is scrutinising and getting this as flat as we can. So I'm watching where the wall undulates and stuff. I'm watching where the front of the trowel sticks in, where the back of the trowel sticks in, and I'm eliminating trowel marks as I move along when it's quite early on in the stage. So I'm kind of getting the feeling we've got it in such a good condition now. We might be able to double cheat on this.
You sponge it?
Might do. So there you go. Yeah, we did double cheat on that. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this. Loads of noise, radio, people coming in and out. It's making it really, really difficult to film anything. So I'm probably going to have to do quite a bit of editing because I'm quite lazy with the editing. I like to do it whilst I'm holding the camera and talk to the camera, and it's all done, you know, and I just have to, you know, splice some clips together and it's all done. But I'm going to have to go rewatch this and yeah, see how it goes. But I'm talking about that retrospectively. That's a good word. That'd be the word for today. So yeah, once you sponge it up like that, I tend to stick with that 20x5 carbon steel trowel for one, just to get those lines out of it. A good sponge float video that I did is called The Problem with Sponge Floats. I did it quite a way back, and it was a re-edit for one that I hadn't edited, and it was one I did quite early on in the channel's history. To sponge or not to sponge, the problem with sponge floats. Just look for that Master Plaster Smurf 74 with that, the problem sponge floats, and you will find that video where I go quite in depth about the idea of what's happening when you are taking a sponge to a multi-finish wall. information. Tyres don't need pumping up. They haven't since I put the tyre weld in there. That sky. Guys, how the devil are you? Back in there again today. I was supposed to be on another job, but it got postponed to Saturday. Today is Thursday. I had another job to go and look at yesterday after I finished here. So I'm just back here this morning with the easiest day ever because I've got nothing else to do. So I didn't push on really hard because I had to get away and have a look at another job. So. And I still needed to get my tools out, clean up, etc. So all we got to do today, as in, well, yesterday we got from here all the way down here, we got this wall, and then we got all this wall in one day. So today all I need to do is pick up these reveals, which were not originally in there, they only got put on yesterday. And all I need to do is set this bulkhead thing. This one seems got pipes in it, and look, we had to float it out with bonding to try and straighten it up because it was wibbly wobbly all over the place. So that's it. I did put a bit of PVA over that yesterday just to kill the suction. Well, you can see it's still got its dark colour to it, so it shouldn't have too much suction, and it'll have just enough. And what we'll probably do there is I just need to knock up one bucket of plaster because the suction will be good enough. I'll get it on. You have to be neat getting it on when the suction is high, okay? You really have to kind of flatten in as you go along. We'll put the first coat on, and then no sooner we put that on, then we'll turn straight back around and put a second coat on because the suction would have pulled off the moisture out of that first coat, and it would start sending it off, stiffen it up so that you can, you know, get the second coat over it because the stuff in the bucket will be wetter than what's on the wall. And then I'll get a coat over that first of all because they're such small things and they're not too bad that way. Just clean these beads off. We're just going to one coat these in as well. I'll get them there and send a small bit. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we just finished there. See, very sticky, sticking to my fingers. And in that time, it's taken me to get down there because I'll probably play that bit just in real time. Come to where we started up here. And as I said, it's not sticky at all. It's pretty much ready to take a second coat immediately. No left in the bucket to do so. And of course, we put these plasterboard reveals on first of all, because these are going to have much less suction on them. And of course, look, there we go. Look, it's very sticky. That's where we started. So, just leave them alone. Forget about them for a minute. Let's get the second coat in exactly the same way all across this bulkhead. Okay, so the second coat has just gone on. As you can see, a little bit sticky there. So it's taken me the same amount of time to get that second coat on. If we come back to the beginning, not sticky at all. Sorry, I'm not concentrating on what I'm filming. Not sticky at all. And in fact, that's ready to take a little lick with a wet brush. So that's what we're going to do. Literally, it's just by the time you get from one end to the other, because of the suction on it, it's time to do the next stage. Come back to these reveals, and still incredibly sticky. Leave them alone. Okay, to get that little thing into the condition we've got up there, we've had 2 visits to that so far. We've just put it on and then we just laid it down. That is it. And it's in that condition already. Should we have a quick look at it? This is why it pays to be neater. Neater is faster. We do not have the luxury or the time to throw this on as quick as we can and leave loads of trail marks all over it and then return back to the beginning and then try and flatten those trail marks out. Because it's gone, it's sucked the moisture out of them. So this is why we've kind of flattened in as we gone along. And I remember days when we used to float all the time and you'd have to plaster like this and put on exceptionally neat, otherwise you're gonna have a nightmare. And that still carries with me today, even doing board work and stuff. And that's one of the reasons I do use these larger trails, the 20x5 carbon steel. I don't think I've mentioned it on this video. And very often I'm using a smaller wet brush because this is a substitute for a corner trail. And of course it's in my hand all the time, and all the time I'm using it, I can tidy up internals as I'm going, and I don't need that extra tool. So these ones are from Wix and they taper out a little bit at the end, as you can see. And they just deliver the right amount of water for what I need. It's not dripping all over the place. And they're fine enough that you can actually brush the water on and not be splashing it all over the place, which is another good way to get tiger stripes. By roughing up the surface like this with the brush, it puts a more consistent layer of water over there, and it's very much like sponge floating. And of course at this stage the residue that we're picking up can be pushed back into the plaster. So it's almost like giving it a third coat. So I don't need to clean my trowel up at the moment, so I'm pushing it back in and using it to straighten things up. Now this is going quite fast. So I mean, it's like plastering is never an exact science. But I'm going to have to speed up here. This will be down in literally no time at all. A little bit more water. Now I don't have to switch to a corner trowel, see? I'm sorting out the internal with my brush. Just don't need it. You can bind up this larger trowel, and so you just give it that little wiggle in there. It really does straighten things up, and this is why you can use them, but I really am not a fan of curved perma-shaped trowels, and this is why you can't use floppy, flexible trowels for putting on. You need a good, stern, stiff trowel with a straight edge if you want to get things straight, that is. There's not really any other way of doing it. Okay, so I'm catching up with this now. This is a little bit behind. I've caught up a bit. So that just goes to show, doesn't it, the difference in timings there. That was almost gone up there, and this is still quite wet down here, due to the amount of time it's been on there, which is literally minutes and seconds. Okay, so after the third visit, this is what this is looking like. So we put it on, flattened as we went, laid it down straight away, flattened as we went, then we've given it one wet brush, and now we've got it in this condition. We've got a massive window of opportunity to leave that alone there, because we've got it in a really good shape. And this is going to give us time to come back over to these reveals. Still a little bit early, but they'll take a second coat, I think. And I think the time is right. considering what else we've got going on. I'm leaving the door open as well to try and get a lot of air through here to try and dry these up, but yeah, we're pretty much good. Let's get a second coat on them with the same gear. Okay guys, so if you're a bit inexperienced, here's a tip for you. So, obviously here, we need to be square to this edge, and we come out this way. Now, if you keep this trowel like this, square all the way, there is a danger you're going to be scooping this out towards the bead. So you're going to be shallow here and it's going to be scooping out. Now, the trick to get away around that is when you come off, you come at an angle, like so. If you need to, you can come up and down this way, but that can cause a wobble into this edge. Come at an angle like this, so that you don't scoop into this part of the bead and have this hanging out. Practice. It's quite a nice view to have out of your kitchen window. I think the only thing I'd say would be don't leave your blueberry pie on the shelf there to cool with the window open, as it might not be there after a while. Okay, so we are all done in here. Okay, let's have a look at this DeWalt mixer. Now, I got given this by DeWalt about a year or so before they came out on sale, and I still have it. And I still have the original batteries as well, although this is not one of them. Now, there's one little design fault that I found on these, and this is this little trigger here. So you pull the trigger, and then you've got speed control here, okay? So by twisting that determines how fast it goes. But on this trigger, if you can just see here, look, so at the moment, you can pull that in and out quite easily. Now this little flap used to pop out, so you used to have to push the flap in and then pull the trigger, because unless that flap was in, as a safeguard, you couldn't pull the trigger. But of course, plaster, being the nature that it is, has clogged all that up, and now that flap never comes out. So quite often, you've got this knocked around in your van with the battery inside it. Okay, if you grab hold of it, or if it falls, or alternatively, like if you've got it in this way, okay, and you grab hold of this or the spindle or something, you pull it and something catches on that, you can imagine, can't you, yeah? Especially if you've got your hands hold of this. So what I tend to do, you can probably do it with the proper DeWalt ones as well. See that spinning? Okay, that's live all the time. So just for safety, what I do, just pop that off, and then it can't do it, can it? And you don't have to be driving down the road, going over a bump, and then like your drill suddenly going off in the back of your van. It has happened to me, but luckily it was on a very slow setting and I only just touched it. So since then, I always take the battery out. So there we go, there's that video. It's a fairly long one. I quite enjoyed doing it. It's the end of that job. What is there to say? There's a Facebook group, Plaster Master Smurf 74, whereas the channel here is called Master Smurf 74 Plastering. Come over there if you want to have a chat with me. There's almost 1,000 people in that group now. 1,000! So if you want to talk to me or other plasterers, because I find that platform a lot easier to engage with you guys with, rather than the comment section on the YouTube app, which is where I normally see most of your comments. So come over there if you want to talk to me and other plasterers. Other than that, I've got a job to do tomorrow, but it's with some other guys, and I don't know if there'll be anything there worth recording. So this might be it for this week. Views have been a bit funny since September. I know YouTube have changed the algorithm somehow. Something's happened. They changed the way that you get views or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, they seem to be down a little bit. So if you do like the channel, do us a solid. hit the old subscribe button and that. And if you want, share it around, share it with your friends. Have a Master Smurf plastering party and show all my videos. I'm planning on having one this weekend myself, if I wasn't so busy. I'm working Saturday. Anyway, right guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you really soon on the next one. Oh yeah, I had a look at that job. Got a big one. Well, it's big for me. Next week, starting at Monday, and we are being paid by the meter. So let's, well, I guess I'll be showing you some techniques to eat meters. Right, until then, see ya. Take it easy.